Imagine this: a quiet boy, born in a golden palace, surrounded by everything, yet feeling completely alone. He will grow up to lead a nation through its darkest hour. He will witness war. He will witness loss. He will carry a heavy secret in his heart, one that history will never forget. This is the story of Emperor Hirohito. As you listen, notice the new words: emperor, reign, legacy. This story will help you improve your listening skills just by following the journey. So take a deep breath and let's begin. Chapter 1. The Boy Born to a Throne, A Lonely Beginning. Picture this moment: Tokyo, Japan. The year is 1901. A baby boy is born. His name is Hirohito. He's not born in a normal hospital. He's born in a palace, Aoyama Palace. His father is Crown Prince Yoshihito. His grandfather is the Emperor of Japan. From his first breath, Hirohito's life is not his own. In Japan at that time, imperial children did not live with their parents. It was the custom. So, baby Hirohito was taken to live with a retired vice admiral, a kind man, but still a stranger. Think about this: a small child, needing love, living with someone he did not truly know as father. He saw his real parents only on special days, short visits, formal bows, quiet words. His world was rules. His world was duty. From the age of 7, he went to a special school, the Gakushuin. It was a school for children of nobility, very strict, very serious. He studied many things: math, science, history, but also military lessons and religious teachings. He learned to be strong, to be quiet, to put the nation first. But deep inside, he had a quiet passion: the sea. He loved marine life, fish, ocean plants, the silent world under the water. In his private rooms, he kept aquariums. He read books about the ocean. This was his escape, his peaceful world. In 1921, something important happened. Hirohito, now a young man, traveled to Europe. He visited the United Kingdom, France, and other countries. He was the first Japanese crown prince to ever travel abroad. He saw different worlds, different people, different ways of life. He saw new ideas, new systems of government. He saw a world recovering after a great war. These images stayed in his mind. When he returned to Japan, his father was very sick. So, Hirohito became regent. This means he carried out the emperor's duties. He was only 20 years old. Think about this: the weight of a nation on young shoulders. Then, in 1923, disaster struck. A terrible earthquake hit Tokyo. It killed around 100,000 people. It destroyed most of the city. Hirohito saw the pain, the loss, the struggle to rebuild. He worked hard to help, to comfort the people. This became one of his first real tests as a future leader, not with armies, but with compassion. In 1924, he married Princess Nagako. It was a traditional marriage, arranged by family. But over time, they grew to care for each other. Together, they had 7 children. For a short time, life felt calm. Chapter 2. The Weight of Silence, A Prince in a Changing World. Now imagine the year 1926. Hirohito's father, Emperor Taisho, passed away. Hirohito, at the age of 25, became the Emperor of Japan. His reign name was Shokuwa. It means enlightened peace. A beautiful hope for a difficult and uncertain time. You see, Japan was changing fast. It wanted to be strong, modern, and powerful, like Western nations. But different groups had different visions for the future. The military leaders wanted more control. They believed Japan should expand, take more land, and become an empire. Hirohito, as emperor, held a complex position. The constitution said the emperor had supreme authority. But in reality, he often approved decisions already made by others. The ministers and military leaders shaped the major policies of the country. Hirohito was more of a symbol of unity than a direct ruler. This is important to understand. He was not a dictator. He was a man inside a powerful system. He worried about war. He saw the rising tensions. He tried to support peace with countries like Britain and the United States. But the voice of the military continued to grow stronger. In 1931, the Japanese army moved into Manchuria in China after an explosion on the railway line. Mukden Incident. This incident was used as a justification for military expansion. Hirohito did not strongly support this expansion. But he did not stop it either. Why? Because the military had enormous power. They controlled the army and had strong political influence within the state. Direct opposition could have led to chaos, or even internal conflict within Japan. In 1936, a group of young army officers attempted a coup in Tokyo. February 26th. Incident: they attacked government officials and tried to take control of key positions in the capital. This time, Hirohito took a firm position. He was extremely angry. He supported the suppression of the rebellion, and the military acted quickly to end it. The coup failed. The leaders were arrested and punished. This showed something important. He could use his authority, but mainly in moments of clear and direct crisis. It did not change the overall direction of the country toward war. Think about this feeling. Knowing a storm is coming, seeing the dark clouds forming in the distance, but having only limited power to change its path. In 1940, Japan signed an alliance with Germany and Italy. Tripartite Pact. They became known as the Axis powers. World War II. The United States responded with economic sanctions against Japan. Oil supplies were restricted. Steel became limited. Economic pressure increased day by day. Japan felt increasingly trapped and isolated. The military leadership began planning a bold and dangerous move: a surprise attack on the American fleet at Pearl Harbor. Attack on Pearl Harbor. They presented the plan to Hirohito. He had serious concerns. He feared a long and devastating war with a powerful industrial nation. But by this point, the plan was already in motion. The military was fully prepared and committed. Rejecting it could have led to internal conflict or political instability within Japan. So, in December 1941, he gave his approval through the formal imperial decision process. On December 7, 1941, the attack on Pearl Harbor took place. It brought the United States fully into World War II. Hirohito's vision of enlightened peace was now slipping further away into history. Chapter 3. The Day the World Changed. War and Choice. Now, picture the war years. Hirohito appeared in military uniform. He visited troops. He tried to raise morale. Japan won many early battles. They took territories across Asia and the Pacific. He was publicly presented as a symbol of unity and strength. But deep down, the cost of war was becoming heavier with each passing day. He received continuous reports of battles, of losses, of suffering. He was a man who once loved science, who loved the quiet study of sea life and nature. Now, his name was tied to a global war. By 1944, the tide of the war began to change. Battle of Midway, Guadalcanal Campaign. The United States and Allied forces achieved major victories. Japanese ships were sunk, aircraft were destroyed, soldiers were exhausted. Japan's leadership increasingly understood that victory was becoming unlikely, but some military leaders still refused to surrender. They spoke of continuing the war, of defending the homeland to the very end. They prepared plans for a final and desperate defense of the Japanese islands. Hirohito saw the reality unfolding around him. He saw cities being bombed. He saw civilians suffering. He began to quietly support the idea of ending the war. But the government remained deeply divided. The military leadership resisted surrender. Then, in August 1945, everything changed forever. 2 atomic bombs were dropped on Japan. Atomic bombing of Hiroshima. Atomic bombing of Nagasaki. The destruction was beyond imagination. Entire cities were erased in moments. Now, Hirohito knew he had to act. He called a meeting of the Supreme War Council. Inside the room, the debate was intense. Some argued for surrender. Others insisted on continuing the war. The decision reached a deadlock. No agreement could be made. So, Hirohito did something extraordinary. He broke with tradition and stepped into the decision directly. He expressed his support for ending the war and accepting the Allied terms. His position became the turning point. On August 15, 1945, the Japanese people heard something they had never heard before. A radio broadcast. The voice of their emperor. It was the first time most citizens had ever heard him speak. His voice was calm, soft, controlled. He announced Japan's surrender. He spoke of enduring the unendurable, of suffering the insufferable. He asked his people to accept the outcome and dedicate themselves to rebuilding the future. Japanese surrender of World War II. For many, it was a shock. For many others, it was a relief. The war was over. Think about this moment. A man, carrying the hopes and fears of an entire nation, speaking into a microphone, changing the course of history with his words. Chapter 4. From Emperor to Symbol, A New Path Forward. After the war, everything changed. Japan was occupied by Allied forces, led by American General Douglas MacArthur. Douglas MacArthur's some Allied leaders believed Hirohito should be tried as a war criminal. They held him responsible for Japan's actions during the war. But General MacArthur had a different view. He believed that keeping Hirohito as emperor would help Japan accept change more smoothly. It would bring stability. It would help the country transition into peace. So Hirohito remained emperor, but his role was completely transformed. In 1947, a new constitution was created, Post-War Constitution of Japan. Japan became a constitutional monarchy. This meant the emperor became a symbol of the state and of national unity. He had no political power, no authority over government decisions. Hirohito accepted this new role. One of the most important moments came on January 1, 1946. He made a radio broadcast known as the Humanity Declaration. Humanity Declaration in it. He rejected the idea that the emperor was divine. He declared that he was a human being, not a god. This was a historic turning point. For centuries, the Japanese emperor had been considered a living deity. By renouncing that status, he helped Japan transition into the modern world. He helped his people begin the long process of healing and rebuilding. After this, he began to travel across Japan. He visited factories, schools, farms. He met ordinary people and listened to their stories. He showed concern for their daily lives and struggles. This helped him gain public respect in a new era. He also represented Japan internationally. In 1971, he visited Europe, the first reigning Japanese emperor to do so. In 1975, he visited the United States, Richard Nixon. He met President Nixon and even visited Disneyland. These visits reflected a new image of Japan, peaceful, modern, and focused on science and culture. And Hirohito never abandoned his lifelong passion. He continued studying marine biology throughout his life. He wrote scientific papers and published research on marine life. In his laboratory, he was not an emperor. He was a scientist, curious, focused, and humble. This revealed another side of him. He saw his son, Akihito, marry a commoner, Michiko Shoda, in 1959. This broke a 1,500-year tradition within the imperial family. It symbolized how the monarchy itself was changing with the times. Hirohito supported these changes. He believed the imperial family should be closer to the people, not above them. Chapter 5. The Quiet Man Who Carried a Nation. What We Can Learn. Hirohito's reign lasted 62 years, from 1926 to 1989, the longest reign in Japanese history. He saw his country go through incredible transformation, from an isolated empire to a modern democracy. From war and destruction to peace and economic growth. He was a complex man. Historians still debate his role in the war. Some say he was a powerless figurehead. Others believe he had more influence. The truth likely lies somewhere in between. He was a man shaped by his time, born into a system of duty, tradition, and hierarchy. He made choices. Some he may have regretted. But in the end, he chose peace. He chose to help his nation rebuild. He chose to become a symbol of unity, not of absolute power. Think about his life lessons. First, duty is heavy, but it can be carried with grace. Hirohito never chose his position in life. It was given to him at birth. Yet he tried to fulfill it as best as he could within the limits of his role and system. Second, change is hard, but necessary. He renounced the idea of divine status and accepted a new, more limited constitutional role. This required courage, quiet, internal, but real courage. Third, your passion can be your peace. Through war, politics, and pressure, he always returned to the sea and to science. His study of marine biology gave him calm and balance in a turbulent life. Fourth, a leader's greatest power can be to listen, to unite, and to heal. After the war, he did not rule through commands or force. He influenced through presence and connection. He appeared in public. He listened to ordinary people. He showed care and empathy. That helped build a new foundation for Japan. Death of Hirohito. He passed away on January 7, 1989, at the age of 87. His son, Akihito, became the new emperor. Hirohito's legacy is not simple. It is a story of contradiction, war and peace, power and restraint, authority and humility. But for English learners, his story offers something simple and powerful. It shows that life is a journey, with difficult choices, with quiet moments, with hopes and regrets. And no matter your role, you can choose kindness. You can choose to learn. You can choose to help others heal. As you listen to this story, you are practicing English. You are learning new words, legacy, constitution, symbol. But more than that, you are learning something deeper about the human heart. Now, I want to ask you something. Think about Hirohito's life, the weight he carried, the choices he made. What is one heavy duty in your life right now? And what is one small thing you can do to carry it with more grace? Write your answer in the comments below. Many people will watch this video, but only a few will comment. Be one of them. Your story matters. Your voice matters. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Your support helps us create more stories that inspire and teach. Thank you for listening. Thank you for learning. Until next time, keep going. Your journey is important.